Got holes in your boots?
Oh yeah.
You do?
Oh yeah.
You gonna be okay?
Oh yeah.
Did you get much water in?
A little bit.
I think I got a little bit in mine, but not bad. Alright, it's Halloween and we're back here in Missouri. Jake and I had a bit of a rodeo getting in this morning. We decided to come clear to the back of this public property that we're hunting on. And it's dead calm, as you can tell. On our way in, we could hear deer up in these woods moving around. And we just didn't want to gom straight up in here and risk bumping them right here. You can see we're in a transition in between the river bottom and these hardwoods. And there's just rubs and scrapes all up and down this transition on the way in. We even heard a buck over here making a rub or making a scrape. You could hear his antlers hitting the branches. But that was about an hour ago. We let those deer work off that were basically right up here underneath the stand. And then we slipped in and we hung it. We're just now getting settled in. We're a little bit later than I would like, but not too bad. I don't know if we've got a squirrel or a deer coming behind us. Sounds like a deer. Let me look. Yep, here it comes. Yep. Looks like 2 adult does. The closest one came through at 40. Well, maybe we can get through our interview this time. Just had 2 does and a fawn come right off this ridge behind us. Could have been the same deer that we heard up in here milling around, but we just took our time sliding up in here to this tree. I originally wanted to get on that ridge where those deer came from, but we could hear them up in there the whole time we were setting up the stand, so we just didn't want to go up any further and risk bumping them. But we're in a real cool spot. I've hunted this place several times this year, and every time we've seen a shooter buck just about. We came in last night. We didn't have time to get a hunt in, but there's a big bluff all the way across this river bottom. We got over there about 6 o'clock last night and just glassed out across this thing. We saw one pretty good buck and several does, and they're just working along these transitions between this river bottom and these hardwood ridges. There's been a lot of acorns this year, and even walking in, we saw a fair amount of bur oaks, and I would think that they'd be on their feet today. Is he still coming?
Yeah, he is.
Straight on. Oh, yeah. Listen.
Don't move.
Is he hitting a branch?
He's making a scrape or like a branch.
Can I move?
Yeah, not much though.
I'd like to range this little hole over here. I think I
He's
know.
got it set up again now.
Here comes the does back to him.
They're coming right where he came from or what?
Yeah, the doe and a fawn are coming right at him. Here he comes.
Is he to the right?
Oh, he's coming right at the tree right now. This is gonna be a rodeo. Yep.
Good.
Felt high. He ducked. It didn't sound good. Oh no.
Did you see the exit?
It looked forward and high. He moved a bunch. I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about it. I didn't have a good feeling about it when I saw him move and I saw the arrow hit. I did not hear that good pop that you want to hear. Dang it. Oh, man, I should have aimed lower. I knew with as calm as it is, I had to grunt real soft. And I grunted real soft to stop him right in that hole. It's 28 yards to that big tree. And it would have been better if he'd went to the left side of the tree, but then he popped back out on the right side, and I had to wait for him to get right. Those does were coming in.
Yep.
We'll wait a while and then go down there and find out, but I'm pretty sure we didn't get him.
No way. Dude, that might be him.
It's not him.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Different one altogether.
It's what you do.
Didn't even care about it. You're kidding.
I gotta get a tag.
What else can you do but smile, I guess? Jake currently does not have a tag. And I have a tag, and I have an arrow and a buck over there. And I'm 99% sure that we're not going to kill that deer. But you can't just go shooting another one until you see that through. Oh, man, insult to injury. Unbelievable morning, though, all things considered. If we don't end up finding that deer, which I don't think we will, I think he's still alive and fine, but if we come to that conclusion after we search for the arrow and search for the buck, still a pretty good hunt. We're in the right spot. This is a buck bedding area right behind the camera, and that's right where we heard that buck at this morning. It's the same location that I observed a few weeks ago when I saw and found all those rubs. This is a little ridge in here where a lot of these bucks have been for most of the month of October. And on Halloween morning, today, they're getting back to their beds a little bit later than they have been for the last 3 weeks. And that's exactly what those 2 bucks were doing. They were coming off of food this direction. There's some ag out that way, and there's more hardwood ridges. And they're working this transition line all the way back into bedding. We're going to go down there and check for the arrow, track that buck, see what we can come up with. You never know. Weird things can happen on an archery hit deer, so we're going to get down there and get after this track job. There's just meat and fat on the arrow. Speck of blood right there. Yeah, I don't know if he... I'm sure that was his bed. Well, no luck on the tracking job. Went up there, I found my arrow. It was broke off, even though it looked like it went clear through the deer. We had blood for 100, 150 yards or so. Not much, but some. And it eventually just petered out. We followed tracks for a little ways and checked some likely bedding areas up ahead with no success. But my thinking is that it's not a non-lethal hit. If you hit in front of the shoulder there on a broadside deer, above the spine, there's really nothing there. So hopefully the deer will be all right. I've seen them get hit there before and live and be perfectly fine. I mean, I've seen them hit there before and be chasing does the next day. So I'm hoping that's the case in this situation. But
when I found that last blood, it almost looked like he might have worked that scrape right where I found that last blood.
he might have worked that. Yeah, it's hard to say. But it stinks. I made a mistake. That's going to happen when you're bow hunting, I guess, but I thought the shot was good before I released it. I thought it was a good opportunity, and wish I could have the arrow back, that's for sure. If I wouldn't have shot, I'd have had a nice buck right here at 10 yards an hour later, but, you know, hindsight's 20/20. You don't know that at the time. But I guess if there is anything to take away from it, we were talking just last week on the podcast about shot selection. And me personally, I'm very comfortable shooting at a target clear out to 50 yards. But when it comes to deer, I don't like shooting them past 25. 30 is my max range, and that deer was 30 yards. And it was calm. I had to draw when he got behind that tree. If he'd have just kept going on that same path like that other buck did an hour later, it would have been a different story. I'd have had a much better opportunity. But I stopped him in the hole, and the only reason why I took the shot was because that foreleg was slightly forward. And looking back at the footage, it looks like the deer was more broadside than I initially thought. I was trying to tuck it really tight to the shoulder, and I probably would have killed him had I have aimed a little bit lower, but I remember floating my 20-yard pin right about the center of his body. That just goes to show you how much can happen, you know, from 0 to 30. A lot, especially on a still morning like this, shooting an alert deer. May take a day to at least sit and think about it a while. Dang. We got a long walk out of here too. So we better get to it.